All right, welcome back to another video. As you can see, I just have so much on my mind dealing with this topic. Just want to get it off my chest, off my heart, and hopefully it helps. It helps somebody cope, helps somebody get through a rough time, a rough patch. Because I have rough patches often. I just had one yesterday, matter of fact. My mother told me she turned in my dad's license plates. Something so small. You know, I battled with myself to ask her to keep those and ship them to me, but it's the right thing to do, to tie those things up and try not to be so selfish. But yeah, if you're new here, my dad passed last month, and just sharing some of my feelings about the things that have transpired over these past, I don't know, 45 days, however long it's been. Because it's rough, and if you're going through it, I don't know where you are in the process as far as grieving, but I just want you to know that you're not alone. I wish you the best in your journey. I pray for strength for you. I pray that you come out the other side. Hopefully find a way to use this grief as fuel in whatever area of life you choose. But just try to use this grief best you can, feel your feelings. Running to the bottle is not always the best answer. Feel your feelings, share your feelings, talk to someone, and I just pray you come out better and not broken, because it's easily to be in that place as well. I can remember when I got that phone call, it was like 1:30 in the morning, barely sleeping anyway, the night before or the day before being at the hospital with Dad, it was eerie. And I can remember leaving the hospital, I was thinking like, man, this may be the last time I see my dad alive. And it really, it bothered me. It bothered me, but it was past visiting hours, and they kicked me out earlier when they had a little brief period where I guess they get a lunch or get a break, all the nurses and the staff and stuff like that. So visiting hours was over, so I want to be respectful. But I just had a feeling like, man, this could be the last time I see my dad alive, and that bothered me. On the way home, luckily, I didn't have to go home alone, because I called my mom to come down. I was having a moment because my dad just had an incident earlier that day. I think it was a breathing tube that he had. It was a balloon at the end of it that popped inside of his belly. So, I see my dad just kind of, it looked like he was seizing, but the seize was so violent. I guess he was trying to breathe via the tube, and the tube had a hole in it. It was like a balloon that had a hole in it, and it was causing his body to jerk. And it was a rough scene, that scene. And I'm telling the nurses, like, yo, that don't look normal, and credit to them. They got in there, they got him back squared away when he was breathing best he could. But after he was, they said he was okay and everything, they fixed the issue. I took a ride, and I had a meltdown, because it was just hard to see him like that. So of course my mother came down, and my family, my wife and my daughters, shout out to my girls, they were already en route and stuff like that, because some of you may or may not know, we don't live close to Newark, New Jersey, but they were en route, so that was helpful as well. And here I go rambling and ranting again. But the last time I saw my dad alive, I felt that, I felt that it might be the last time me seeing him, and something in me told me, like, he's gonna be okay. He's gonna be okay. And funny enough, before the phone call came in the middle of the night, I think it was like 1:30, I had a conversation with my mom, and she told me prior about some of the conversations that he had with his best friend that gave me comfort, because I felt like a decision was looming. And, being the oldest kid, I would have to make that decision. So I don't want to say it prepared me, just in case I had to make a decision, but it gave me calm because it gave me a lot of anxiety because I can feel myself being selfish. Like if my dad were to make it out on the other side, and rest in peace to him, of course. If he were to make it out on the other side, it was a big concern about his quality of life. And me being selfish, if it was my call, like, look, you're gonna have to stick around. You know, that was my thought. That was on my heart. Like, look, we're gonna have to figure it out. You know, whether it be, you know, us taking care of you, people coming to the house, whatever the case may be. I was gonna be selfish. In that moment, in that space, in that very vulnerable space, I was going to be selfish. But the conversation that my mother had with his best friend gave me a lot of clarity. He told me, you know, what he wanted to do. Like he wanted to fight. He wanted to do X, Y, Z. He didn't mind a tube if it came to that. Like I was able to get all those things that gave me comfort. So if in fact I would have had to make a decision, I was able to do him on his best, on how he wanted it done, not just my selfish emotions. But anyway, back to the phone call that came at like 1:30. The doctor called me like, hey, unfortunately, you know, we lost the pulse on your dad. So before he even finished his sentence, I was like, my dad want to fight. He want to fight. He want to fight. Do everything you can. Keep my dad alive. He want to fight for his life. I'm on my way. He was like, okay, cool. And, you know, they started going to work, chest compressions, the whole bit. And shoot, before we even made it out of the house, you know, to take that ride from Plainfield to North University Hospital, you know, I got the phone call that, you know, unfortunately, you know, my dad was no longer with us. And man, that was rough. But I think what took over for me was, instead of like, because I didn't cry right away. You know, I cried on the way home from the hospital. I was like, man, like this has just happened. So now I need to let everybody know that he loved what's going on. So I'm calling my siblings, I'm calling my aunts, texting everybody, letting them know. I'm calling his brother, you know, because I felt responsible to the point where it's like this news that we all have been dreading, that we don't want, it gotta come from me. So at that point, it's like, man up, let these folks know. If they want to meet us at the hospital to see him off before, you know, we get him to the morgue, get him to the cemetery, get him to the funeral home. I want to give everybody that opportunity. So that's what we did. Let everybody know what's going on. Probably kept my dad in his room longer than they would have liked. You know, just want to give everybody opportunity. Give everybody opportunity to come down, see him, touch him one time, and, you know, hold his hand, whatever the case may be. So his aunts came down, my siblings came down, my mom came down, and everything like that. And yeah, so we did that. Everybody, you know, mostly everybody got a chance to see him before they took him off to the morgue. You know, we stalled about 2 hours, as much as we could, to give everybody that last opportunity before he went to the morgue, and then off to the funeral home. Yeah, but after that was over, you know, got everybody upstairs and everybody back downstairs and sent him off, you know, to the morgue. That ride home was the roughest thing I've ever experienced, you know, like it felt really heavy, like emotionally. It was really, really tough. Not just the ride home, but just getting out of the car to actually going in the house. Shoot, man. At one point, getting out of the car, I felt like my legs wouldn't work. You know, like just walking upstairs was a task for me. You know, the ride home was just crushing, heavy. I remember my time as a firefighter. The first time I actually did chest compressions on a live person, felt like I broke all their ribs. You know, the person was already kind of, you know, too far gone, when I felt like the little bit of pressure that I was applying was just breaking everything in that person's chest. And that day on the way home, that car ride from the hospital, I felt like that's what happened to me. Like everything in me was just breaking. Felt like a broken man. And it was really, really rough. And, you know, I pride myself on being composed and being cool. You know, I've been working on having this cool demeanor about myself and not trying to get, working on not being too high, too low, just even keel, stoic. If, you know, if I can do that, man, in the car home, definitely nothing stoic about it. You know, getting out of the car, legs wouldn't work, had to take a knee. Next thing you know, I'm laying on my back, just looking up at the sky, just, you know, and this wave of emotion. And yeah, man. So, you know, if you lost somebody and you're grieving, I feel for you. You know, condolences are there. Empathy is there. I feel for you. And again, just try to circle back on the good things. You know, circle back on the good things. I told a story not too long ago about my dad and him teasing us about our dogs and how we treat them, and him having our dogs' birthdays in his birthday booklet, his birthday notebook. So things like that make me happy and bring me joy. I pray that you find your joy throughout all of this, and you're grieving and you're healing in this process, because it can be rough. But I encourage you to talk about it with folks, share some funny stories, some good times, and do the best you can and let this grief fuel you. And make sure you don't stay in that space of being broken. Do your best not to stay in that space, because it's rough. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. It was on my heart, on my mind. I just wanted to put that out there. And I pray that you guys come out on the other side as best you can. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great rest of your day.